picks or bans we might see because of that game and how it happened?
The only thing that was surprising is just giving away Kalista in general in this meta is pretty crazy. So I'm not expecting to see Kalista through.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised that even though obviously, again, when Toaster was on the MnM roster, you would never let Kalista get through. And Zandia is actually, well, as we clearly seen, a very capable Kalista player himself, so they're probably going to want to take that away from the MnM side this game.
Yeah, I mean, we could just see a very similar
Thresh
draft
taken away. Yeah, Adam on Thresh is insane.
But he also want to Rakan is pretty crazy, so
yeah.
I'm not sure how much you want to let that one go through either. I mean, if you're putting two bans into support, that's not necessarily the most common thing that we see, but still a lot of options. I mean, last time Singularity banned Gragas, Saya, and Jarvan in their first rotation. Probably going to spice that up. Maybe not even ban. Okay, cool, great.
Is that a...
Well, I don't know. Well, I'm sure somebody will let us know. Worst case scenario. But for now, I guess we have to operate under it's not a ban. If it were to be a ban, I would expect, you know, I mean, Kalista, they could first pick it, but maybe a Rakan if you don't want that to go away. You could ban some of the annoying junglers you don't want to play against, depending on how impactful Kayn was, for example.
Oh, it's a Cho'Gath. Okay, we
MnM's Cho'Gath ban, that is not a surprise.
Okay.
I mean, this is a Cho'Gath ban in respect against Kerberos, right? Once again, you know, you don't want to play against it. Kayle again, then is going to be the third ban, most likely from MnM. So Singularity missing out a ban there. I'm not entirely sure what's happened. Still haven't heard, but
bans are just a bit delayed.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I don't. I mean,
I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Right. Jarvan taken away yet again. Candy Floss very
Imagine
very
if they left open Kayle. Oh, they did.
There goes the Kalista, yeah.
They left open
They did
Kayle.
actually leave the Kayle open. Are we going to see a first pick Kayle?
Well, no way, surely. Because you don't need to first pick it, right?
Yeah,
because MnM's not exactly going to take it from you. The thing is, they can always second rotation ban it, because typically in the first rotation, you don't see that many top laners prioritized. I mean, obviously you can go for that option, but...
Okay, Xayah first picked up by Singularity. Rakan should be taken away next.
Xayah over Rakan,
ban.
to be honest.
I'm wondering if the second ban is actually Rakan and we just can't see it.
I mean, we'll know for sure if MnM if MnM pick it up or not.
Yeah,
yeah. Trist. Okay, so the Tristana makes sense because it's a third next AD carry sort of on the list.
Yep.
Obviously, if the Rakan is open and available, you certainly don't want to let the Rakan Xayah combo get taken away. If it is banned though, you can freely pick up any kind of support that you want. Tank Alistar kind of makes sense.
Alistar, yeah. Adam, his top three definitely Thresh, Alistar, Rakan.
Yeah, sure. Very tanky, provides the engage opportunity that he needs. Also, obviously, very fancy disengage too. The calls for that. And at this point, are you looking to prioritize? I mean, jungle now? Like you could take jungle and support, or would you want to try and secure yourself a safe top laner or a safe mid laner, perhaps?
I mean, unless you've got a flex pick at the ready, it's probably wise to pick up a jungler and save your carry picks for as long as possible. I mean, your top lane and the mid lane picks for as long as possible. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do. The Malphite coming out. Okay,
lock Malphite in.
Malphite Zac.
Is that?
I mean, if that's not a wombo, I don't know what is.
All you need now is Ori.
Orianna, yeah.
Okay, so is Malphite, that must be top lane, surely?
Yeah.
So
Malphite, yeah, but blind
because I mean, surely it's quite counterable. I mean, honestly, I don't know much about the top lane matchup, but he gets punished by everything in the game. Yeah,
you can just pick Gnar and be absolutely fine into this matchup. I don't know how Jace does. I would like to see some Rifty Jace being played today.
Yeah, that would be lovely, honestly. He's a beautiful champion.
Corki, once again, picked up by Energy. The hyper carry that he's very comfortable with, and there is the Kayle ban on the second phase.
Yeah, so... I mean, the thing is, Kale's being banned and the Malphite hasn't decided its position. Is there any possibility that Malphite's not top lane? I don't know where else it would be.
I don't know. Unless it's like a flex pick Malphite and they've decided to put it mid with an adaptive helmet and a ninja tab against Corki.
Kind of like
that would be insane.
But that would... no. Okay, the Gnar's been banned, so that would almost insinuate that Malphite could be in the top lane. And MnM here, I feel like... Going to be obviously very confused playing against this, but... It doesn't sort of scream that it's that scary. I mean, at this point. Obviously, there is the Wombo combo with the Zac Malphite, Orianna synergy, or whatever you could get on top of that. But
it's actually quite surprising they didn't ban the Orianna away, because that does leave a lot of Wombo combo potential that could catch even the best of teams off guard.
It's true. It can come from anywhere as well. Zac's obviously engage range is massive. Malphite 2 with a flash.
Yeah. A lot of counterplay to that.
A lot of counterplay to flash knockout. Yeah, that's true. You can flash it yourself.
Game.
Pro players have done it before. Okay, so is this the Kayn because And you do obviously know Kane a lot better than I do, but like the carry into the tank matchup is obviously great for the carry because you can pretty much have whatever end of the jungle you want. They have to react to you.
Yeah.
And Kane like is looking for that because he wants to not have too high a pressure early game for his. Yeah, like
as we saw last game, he was so confident in this matchup that he actually started on the enemy Raptors, took the enemy red buff, and then just 3-buffed Caesar on the Zac. Got a pretty not as big lead as he should have against him because catch-up XP and Caesar got some successful ganks off. But this is the Rakan.
Okay, so they actually...
What?
So Rakan has gone all the way through. Unless that's actually a hover. No, we could just be talking about a hover, which is obviously #1 mistake. But yeah, okay.
Right, yeah.
So, wait. That is Malphite support.
Oh.
Because I was asking if it's a flex, and you were like, probably not, but it could be. And here we are.
Right, that's different.
Yeah, okay, I'm excited.
I don't ever think I've seen that before. Malphite support being played, okay.
I mean, I've seen it in meme games. In like a normal troll game, right? I mean, Dan, you played a lower elo than us.
Meme games, my favorite. Now I can be included in the conversation. Yeah, it does look a little bit different. As you said, you've not seen something like this before.
Hey.
I mean, is this
kind of exciting?
Is just throwing the spanner in the works, like Singularity trying to throw off MnM? Do you think here?
Well, it is that cheese is their go-to, right?
It is incredibly cheesy. But I don't know how favourable this matchup is in the top lane. The Renekton against the Maokai is going to have to do a lot of work. Otherwise, this flex has.
As it was locked in as well, Kerberos was there, like almost shaking his head, being like, "I don't think this is a good idea, guys." I mean, obviously, I have no idea what he was actually saying, but it felt that way. Just looking at it, and the Malphite isn't. It's not exactly like a cheesy in that it destroys lane, right? It's cheesy in that you don't anticipate it to be support, but what it provides is just an engaged tool, and he's not even going to be that tanky because he's in the support position, unlike an Alistar whose ult gives him tankiness. If you would like trying to compare the two champions, for example, Alistar would obviously be much preferred choice for forcing fights, right?
Sure. And it's not even one of those situations of what is there to lose, because I mean there's plenty to lose.
There's quite a lot.
You're already 1-0 down. You don't want to be going 2-0 down and being eliminated from the competition. All right, you've seen the general pick and bans. How do you see this next game going then, gentlemen? I'll start with you for once, Will.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have faith in the Malphite support, in honesty. I think MnM's comp is, very nice, very clean, something they've practiced and played over and over again. It kind of ticks all the boxes with like tier 1 or S tier champions in every role. So for me, I'd have to say MnM here.
Agreed, Scudsy? There's nods.
Yeah, MnM definitely got this in the bag. The draft is a lot better, and they seem to be a lot more confident going into the second game.
And do you think they'd be confident going into the final as well if they were to win this and face up against XL, or are you still sticking with your earlier prediction of XL being the favourites for this tournament?
I definitely think we'll stick with the original prediction.
All right then, well, game is underway, so I think it's about time we jump back to our beautiful casters. Guys, take it away.
Beautiful, thank you very much. Say what you want about Singularity, but when their backs to the wall, they bare their fangs, and that fangs is in the form of Shifter playing Malphite support. Let's see whether or not they can pull it off and make this series tie.
See, I've debated with Frozen Dawn so many times in the last week that a game cannot be lost at draft. But as Scudsy said at the very end there, MnM have got an S-tier pick in every single position. You'd argue maybe Kane less so, but every other role is so strong for them here. And I think this is the biggest concern. We spoke about this in the last game, saying when you're the losing team, you're the one who has to adapt. You have to change and mold and deal with what the enemy team has done. They can adapt if they want, but they're under no pressure to do so. This is basically the last game repeat in a sense, because you still got the Zac, who we saw earlier on, didn't really have the biggest impact. We've got a Vladimir, who takes time to scale up and really have an impact on the game. I like that Kerberos has got more of a lane winner here. He hasn't got to worry about scaling. He can win it pretty easily early on. Biggest concern for me is if Candy Floss makes an appearance top lane, that's going to give them a whole ton of issues. And the Malphite, when I saw it locked in, I thought, top lane blind pick Malphite is really, really dangerous. It's super weird to go for. In the support role, even weirder. Like, what is going on? It's pure madness. However, if they feel like they've got the idea down, Kerberos agrees with me. He's not really too fond of it. Maybe they know something we don't, and maybe the European team will bring in something special to the Rift today for us.
I really hope that special does come out and they actually do manage to get themselves all the way to 3, tie this series against MnM. That last game was very, very tough, including all of the technical issues and just the actual game itself for them. Candy Floss doing what Candy Floss does best, and that is stealing Caesar's jungle.
Yeah, I've got a lot right on this game, actually, because if Singularity managed to win this, I'm going to stand by my original guns of a game can never be decided in draft. If they lose it, then I'll concede, and you know what? Games can be decided in draft, and I agree.
So not only Singularity have something to lose here,
I
you
have
have something to lose as well.
I have a lot to lose. I have an argument against Frozen Dawn to lose, which is probably the greatest thing you can lose.
Well, Candyfloss hanging around, maybe looking for an opening onto this mid lane. Does realise that is a Vladimir who hasn't actually taken Blood Pool yet, but it will be coming up relatively soon. But Cesar has actually raped Candyfloss like a book this time and has gone into his own, into Candyfloss's jungle, get my words out right eventually, and stolen away his red buff.
What I do like, especially at Azandi here as well, is starting on the door and shield, just acknowledging there might be some really weird stuff going on down here in the bot lane. One thing worth touching on with Malphite that did make sense when I saw it picked up, I'm a bit of a filthy Malphite main at the best of times, is that his E will slow down attack speed. If you can get on top of Zandia and drop that down, he loses half of his attack speed. And for a champion that is so reliant on attack speed with the Q, Tristana just can get shit out of it so quickly. Won't be able to stack up the E as quickly, won't be able to do as much damage in the mid to late game as long as that ult lands. So many things I think can work against him, and I think that I understand why the pick came through. I just don't think it was the most optimal choice in this game for Shifter. But as I said, we'll see what happens when level 6 hits. That's when things can change. The biggest thing for me is if Singularity can survive this lane phase and at least go even, because that's when we might start to really see them shine.
Well, it's been a little bit less active than last game, which is good for Singularity, because if it is anything like last game, they would have already had a kill go against them at this point. But Candyfloss did go into Cesar's jungle and clear out 2 of the camps on his red side, and Cesar actually did a full clear of his red side. Even slapped a ward down there as well, so he's going to have vision of when Cesar walks around. And look at the wards kind of almost protecting Kerberos there. Just a couple of wards in that red side, being able to track any kind of ganks coming in from that side of the map.
It's an early back coming through from Kerberos here as well. He has actually gone back already, gone for the cull. Okay, that is that's very interesting. I'm a big fan of cull, and I think it's really good if you're in a very good, strong scenario. As we saw last game, Zandia picks up the cull earlier on the Kalista once he got the Berserker's Grease, because you know you're ahead in the lane, you know it's going to be very, very hard to lose it, therefore you accelerate that lead by buying the cull, and once you get those stacks come through from it, it's like having a kill on your side. It's amazing to have. In this case, he knows he's going to be able to shove Rifty in pretty much all game long. He knows that he's likely going to be the focus of some big jungle attention. So get that cull going and just try and accelerate yourself forward, because in 10-15 minutes time, that's a kill's worth of gold that he'll have on side.
Well, Shifter on this Malphite hasn't actually been punished too much, and as we get towards this level 6 mark, the Unstoppable Onslaught can be devastating for Zandia and Adam, especially if they have themselves Cesar to back it up, as Matty will be able to lay out a fair amount of hurt. It looks like Kerberos is actually having a fight against Rift. Goes forward with a slice and the dice, gets the Call the Meek down.
I thought for a second he was just like AFK, like,
yeah, well, for a minute I thought he was. I think he was just toying with him.
Apparently so. The nice thing with Renekton is you can sustain pretty well in that lane thanks to your Call the Meek. It does give you really good healing, especially against a melee champion like Maokai, who has to get pretty close to you. You can heal it pretty comfortably, and already you can see Rifty, he's pretty low in terms of his mana, so wants to go back and probably try and get himself some more sustain in this lane, although an engage is coming through in the top lane.
Looks like there will be an engage, and in the bot lane as well. Adam looking for the knock-up, looking for the stun, does manage to find it, as he's now starting to lose half of his health. Matty looking for the damage, the Ignite is there, it's ticking away. Adam should be fine at the moment. Goes very, very low. Matty throws out the Q! Oh, tickles Adam's bum. Doesn't get him the kill though.
Of all things a co-caster has ever said to describe someone getting down some damage.
You never heard me say that one. I use that one a lot.
No, but okay, that's brightened my mood. Thank you very much for that, Brain. I appreciate it.
It's good. Kerberos against Rifty. Okay. Also punishing him pretty hard here, but Candyfloss has got the trespass. He's looking for it. Looks for the knock-up as Adam finds one onto Shifter. Zandia looking for the opening. The Ignite's been thrown back down. He has got heal, and now the side of Singularity, do you just walk away from that gank?
Yeah, Shifter has got quite a lot of armor stats, and when the damage coming in, especially as Malphite as well, let's not forget on your W you get additional armor based on what your max armor is, as well as a flat amount for each level that you have. In this case, you've got Zandia, AD carry Tristana, Candyfloss, AD carry Kayn, well, AD Kayn. They're all coming in and doing physical damage to you. And don't forget, Doran Shield start on Tristana means that your trades are incredibly weak early on. It's meant to be a safe start. So when your jungler comes in for a gank, you're not going to have the most damage in the world to lay it down. So Shifter, he has nothing to worry about, at least for the next few minutes until the big buys start coming through. Speaking of which, a BS Sword gets picked up by Zandia.
Well, Rifty actually picked up that Bramble Vest, so definitely looking to cut the healing, cut the trading that Kerberos is able to do on him. With those grievous wounds.
You just don't auto-attack as Kerberos here. You just use Call the Meek and then you can go for the trades, because at that point you don't care about the reduced healing. You've already had the healing from the Call the Meek at the start.
Definitely what he looks to do. It's also going to help against Paris, providing Paris auto-attacks him. So, I mean, it's not really going to happen too much, to be honest. But definitely having a harder start this time, Rifty, on that Maokai. He managed to get a solo kill on Kerberos last time, but I feel that was more Kerberos messing up than Rift actually outplaying him. Paris has got the jungle. He did see the little orb there to give away that Candy Floss was hanging over that wall.
Adam hanging over his own wall, apparently. Cows jumping the fence, in this case jumping walls. But I'm looking so far, I'm thinking Singularity aren't losing out in lane phase like they were last time around. It's like, last game they never had the opportunity to come online. They never had the opportunity to... nice side stepping by Shifter. They never really had the opportunity to show what they were made of as a team. This time round, they're at least staying even. If not everyone, speaking of staying even.
Oh, it's a three-man gang coming in onto Energy. He's running low. He's going to get stunned up. He is actually going to be able to walk his way out, though, as Paris takes a tower shot to the back of the head. Cesar does take a little bit of damage there. Almost goes down, but he's going to be fine for now. Energy managed to play with fire, but he did get out.
And notice what summoners were burnt there. Paris used his Ghost, which is hit him as a pretty safe investment. He doesn't mind using Ghost. Kerberos, Cesar, and Paris all held on to their flasher. They didn't bother using it, but Energy burnt his. So yes, it was a very high-level investment, but Energy is considerably less safe now against Paris.
Hemo Plague was thrown out by Paris and no kill pressure yet, but there's the unstoppable onslaught, followed up by the Featherstorm pulling it in. The Ignite's been thrown down, and Zandia looks to be fine at this point. Fantastic engage from the Singularity bot lane. Didn't result in a kill, but they did burn both the summoner spells of the ADC.
Very, very well played by Adam there to get in the middle and make sure both members got knocked up, so they couldn't follow up on that engage. But we're going to see a lot more of this. Shifter going in with the ult, and then Matty throwing his ult straight over the top, so you get double amounts of CC essentially there. All the onus is on Adam to make sure that this doesn't bring the demise of his AD carry. Speaking of a demise, though, top lane Kerberos going on Rift.
Rift's definitely in for a little bit of hurt as the Arcane smashes back, throws out the ultimate. Kerberos with the Dominus chasing him down. There is no mana. It looks like Kerberos might be able to get first blood. He flashes over the wall. The Q's there, the damage is there, and first blood goes to Kerberos.
This is what we were waiting for, Kerberos to start showing up in the lane, and he's done just that. We said last game, Rifty might sit here and go, you know, I'm not playing on a carry. I want to play a carry so I can beat him out in this top lane. No doubt he's going to be feeling in this game, because now it's all the lane for Kerberos to win. If you buy Cull, you should not be getting kills like that against your enemy laner. But now he's got a kill and the Cull half finished. This is dreamland for Kerberos.
And Rifty used his teleport earlier because Kerberos pushed him under lane with a big minion wave. Rift knew if he stayed, he would have to go. And it looks like actually a fight will be breaking out here over the mountain, Drake. Nope, everyone walks away.
It's working pretty well, because to be fair, like, in this case, MnM had some good owners and try and turn around and try and force the Drake out of that one, but not knowing, you know, Energy had hold of the package, could have made good use of it to go for an engage if they wanted to, but here, at least they can set a way of taking away their boss without that being interrupted too much. They knew the Shifter did not have flash ults available, so they knew they could go for it, just couldn't quite close it out. That damage potential a little bit too much.
Does Candy Floss go for the Assassin game, or does he go for Rust?
I think in this game, you can afford to go for either, although you'll probably go for Rast again just for the additional CC. You've already got tons of damage coming out of Corki and out of Tristana. You don't really need to go for someone who's functioning as like half an assassin here. I don't think you'll get enough sticky time, to be honest, onto the key members like Matty, like Paris, who will be really tanky, by the way. This doesn't make sense.
Paris needs to be careful. That's going to be the ulti thrown out for the healing. The blob is going to come out. There's a healing onto Paris. Is going to be able to walk his way out of there. Did burn his flash and his ghost, and now Kerberos fighting into Rift again. He's used the slice, he's used the dice, but this time Rift is actually the one with the favourable fight, and he knows that Candy Floss is coming up to back him up, so Kerberos is going to walk away.
I find it quite interesting that Kerberos still chose to go towards the Tabby quite early here. He probably could have avoided that and even just gone for the cloth armor or built more towards them to help him with the lane and with Candy Floss coming in for the fights. This is definitely optimizing more towards what Zandia is going to do, and maybe somewhat towards Energy and Candy Floss too when the time is right. But I feel he probably could have pushed the advantage in the lane and really started trying to drive this home now. He is 15 CS up, he has got the call going away, he is a kill up. But it's still not really going to be enough to guarantee you a victory here, especially when Candy Floss starts lurking like he is now.
Looks like he's coming in. He's going to get rooted up, thrown down the Dominus. Kerberos needs to make something work out for him, but the ulti's been thrown out. Candy Floss loses a fair amount of health. The slice is there, followed up by the dice, but here is the Humble Trespass, and it's going to be Candy Floss going forward, looking for the kill, but Rift is the one who wants to get the kill, but the Dominus is popping away. Kerberos, can you get out? He does not have flash. He does have slice, though, and Candy Floss chasing away. There's going to be the blast plant. It's just going to be able to deliver him away. Kerberos comes out. He's looking for the opening. No, Candy Floss finds the kill.
Wasn't quite enough down there, but either way, it's a kill traded, because in fact, there's 2 kills traded.
Okay, 2 kills go down for Singularity, and they're definitely more happy with this. Shifter on this Malphite working out.
It's working pretty well. Well, we said they must know something better than we do, because so far, It's working out wonders for them. The first engage didn't really go to plan, but otherwise, it's going exactly the way Singularity would have wanted it to.
I think that first engage did go to plan with the Malphite. They burned all of the summoner spells on the ADC there, which just made it so much more easy for them to then just go in later when they had the jungler to back them up. Kerberos bought so much time that they couldn't really gain anything off his death because the wave wasn't dealt with, it wasn't pushed in.
I imagine a lot of that, and the reason probably why Shifter was hanging on to his ult was at least the thought that if Candy Floss is around, this is a very, very dangerous time to invest all of our mobility tools getting into the fight with no way of getting back out again. You know, testament to MnM, they played it very, very safe at the start. They bought those Door and Shields. They were saying, right, we know some really weird stuff might happen here. Let's make sure we play it safe. And again, we can't write them out of this. They already showed last game how well they can play when they find themselves in a good situation. And to be fair, at 12 minutes, yes, they're 1,500 gold behind. It's definitely not the end of the world for them, though.
But Singularity were down 9k gold last game, and they turned 2 fights in their favor, almost turning the game back around on themselves. This time, they're the ones in control. They're the ones attempting Mountain Drake. Scissors actually just going to elastic slingshot his way out of there. And it looks like Candy Floss probably won't actually stick. No, he is actually going to go for that Mountain Drake. So just an extended leash for MnM.
Yeah, this is good. This is being proactive at least here, knowing that, okay, maybe we're not going to be able to get some advantages elsewhere on the map right now, but we can start getting these Drakes and looking towards the mid to late game for ourselves. Yes, it's not an Infernal, it's not going to help you in team fights, but if you've got some split push on the go, maybe if you have energy off trying to do his thing, he's quite mobile and get involved in the fight if he's got the package, every little helps. To quote a very famous supermarket chain.
Kerberos pushed a wave into Rifty. So just denying him more CS as this gap is starting to grow wider and wider in the top lane. And we were saying at the beginning of this series, seems hours ago now, but our lane to watch was going to be Kerberos versus Rifty.
Yes, one thing to consider though is that Maokai doesn't really fall off the same way that Renekton does. Yes, Renekton has a great lane phase, and we said in pick and ban, or just after pick and ban, because obviously the analyst test did it, we said at the end of the day he wants to win lane, and that's what he's gone and done. Then you need to try and translate that into fights that will then win you the game elsewhere on the map. There still comes a point though, again at that magic 35-minute mark that I love mentioning so much, where he will become a little bit weaker, and you will then start to see Rifty really start to shine. If he can get himself on top of Maddie, or keep Paris at least tied down momentarily, then he will be the more impactful team fighter when it comes down to it.
Well, the lanes do swap out, and the ADCs, we're going to have the Australia lanes, as so many people like to aptly call it. And Kerberos, not too far off actually finishing that call as well, so he's going to get that cash in relatively soon. Got 20 minions left.
It's funny, because I remember in the last ESL final, it was Rifty who was playing on Renekton, to great effect as well at that. I remember him actually pretty much rolling through the whole team continuously, just by being so ridiculously far ahead. And now he finds himself in a semi-final, albeit not the grand final, playing against a Renekton.
Shift has unstoppable onslaught. I don't know if they've actually spotted Candy Floss out though, so if he goes in now, it will be detrimental. But Cesar is there.
Unstoppable force.
Is it? Oh, unstoppable onslaught is me getting muddled up someone else, but it doesn't matter because the fights come out. There's the Featherstorm pulling the feathers back, and Zandia just disappears. It looks like Candy Floss is going to be able to turn it around and get a kill onto Matty. Teleport from Energy coming through. Is he going to be able to back it up? Shifter did use the ultimate, but the two-man knockout comes down, followed up by the Pulverizer. Cesar trying to find anything for his team. Shifter manages to dodge out, but Corky manages to get the kill. Energy dodging out, but can he actually stay alive? He's missing everything. Yes, the tower shot comes through for Cesar, and he outplays Energy.
Some beautiful sidestepping there coming out from Cesar to bring down Energy. But look in the mid lane, they've got a tower there. Kerberos is still laying down the pressure in this bot lane. That was a huge investment from MnM, and rightly, it didn't really pay off, to be honest.
Paris is on the side, actually. He's looking to maybe come in for the kill onto Rift. They're chasing down. The ultimate's been thrown out, followed up by the Hemoplague. Kerberos, with that dominance, is tanking away, just trying to keep it going for Paris for as long as possible, but he's rooted, he's knocked up, and he's bopped down. Zandia manages to get a kill onto Kerberos and forces Paris to run away.
Bit of poor coordination there from Singularity going for that dive. No reason to. When you knew Zandia was back online, you have the death timers, you know how long it takes to walk from base to an inner tower, so why go for such a big, risky play? My concern here is that, yes, you're winning lane. There is no reason then to there go over-aggressive and start trying to force things. But looking at this play once again, in this fight, Zandia had nothing to do. He even flashed and healed at the end, but he didn't even get room to breathe, let alone use any of his abilities or fire down any auto attacks. And Shifter, rightly so, gets caught out here, but just watch as Cesar manages to sidestep from Energy here. Good Ignite comes down and does end up getting the kill trade across, but watch here as well with Cesar. Always managing to dodge around these, and Energy, it's a bit of a panic more than anything else as well. With these rockets, it's kind of firing them blindly and hoping to catch something. But Cesar fair play to him, does turn it around very, very well. And this game is going much better for him than the last one.
All he had was a Sheen and a Hex Drinker, so his auto attack damage was absolutely nothing. And Cesar knew all he needed to do was dodge those rockets, and fantastically played by him, managing to turn that around and not make it quite as bad as it first appeared. But speaking of bad, Kerberos has a little bit of a bad position there. You didn't let me finish that up there.
Sometimes it's great to interrupt someone midway through just to make them sound like
a flamey. No, he was in a bad position.
Speaking of bad, here's Kerberos. Wow.
Well, looks like the side of Singularity are just going to turn their attention towards the Rift Herald. That pink ward will stop any wards from coming out, so, well, any vision from MnM coming out. And it looks like this time they are going to be the team who get their hands on it, but maybe MnM are looking to deny this from them.
More small advantages for them. I reckon here you try and take it probably towards this top side and get those towers hammered down, or even go towards the mid lane and try and force that in even more. Paris once again going for a bit of a big
He's thrown out the ulti. He's actually got it. Paris 1v1 Rifty gets himself the kill, and this means there's so much pressure on this other side of the map away from where the Rift Herald is. It's actually on Matty at the moment, so Matty's got that Rift Herald in the mid lane, and Candyfloss hanging around. It's going to be a knock-up coming down. Adam's got the backup though, so it looks like Cesar's going to be fine for now. Matty calling out the Rift Herald in the middle of the fight.
But look at this 1-3-1. Renekton, Vladimir, the 3 in the middle with the Rift Herald. This is the perfect macro play coming through from Singularity. They might find themselves getting 3 towers here if they choose to commit to it.
Looks like that's going to be a big chunk of damage. Kerberos pushing away. Cull is now finished. He's got that Black Cleaver, got double longsword, so building towards the Ravenous Hydra. And the other side of the map, you've got Paris, who's just slowly starting to tear away at these towers. And Singularity look revitalized from the last game against MnM.
4,500 in the lead though, and there's still a 2-0 on Candyfloss, who's now got the Ras form on the go as well. As we said earlier on, they already have the damage potential in the team. It's now about making sure they've got the front line to protect them, and we've already seen what happens when they can't. Zandia had 0 response against Shifter, and Cesar once all that CC started coming through. And like the guys rightly said on the analyst desk, if this ain't a wombo combo, then what is? Because it's looking fantastic for them thus far. My biggest concern is how do they translate that when they get through into the mid game? Because if Adam can interrupt the dive coming through from Cesar, there's only one CC ability to keep Zandia tied down, and he will be able to survive. And as we've all seen from Tristana, when she gets into the late game, she can be an absolute monster.
Now, something I'd like to see at Singularity, if they want to keep this 1-3-1 up, is better warding. There's not a lot of warding protecting their side laners from being able to walk around, and in the case of actual getting a flank TP off for Kerberos, they need to make sure they've got deeper wards pushed up into the jungle of MnM. Otherwise, they're going in blind, and it's really easy for MnM to then look for these picks. We're at the 20-minute mark now, and it's a 4,000 gold lead for Singularity. As their items are starting to come online at this point. You've got the Essence Reaver and the Zeal for Matty. Paris has got the Hexatech Proto Belt, and he's building towards that Leandri's Torment.
It's so rough on Rifty right now because he's being matched into a split push against Paris. Vladimir, AP damage, and look at the items on Rifty. He has no magic resist at all. He itemized exclusively to deal with Kerberos in the top lane, to try and deal with Matty a bit later on. He has no answer to the crazy damage that's coming out of Paris right now, which is why continuously we're having to see energy roam across, why Rifty is dying under tower, why he's having to go back so often. He just doesn't have a response, and rightly so now, they put him in the top lane. I'm curious to see if Singularity choose to send Paris up there to go and match him, because now the next objective that's on the map is, of course, the Baron only spawned 10 seconds ago. Get some deep wards down, keep him pinned in by Paris, and suddenly Singularity might find themselves with a golden opportunity to really accelerate this game forward.
Rifty's finished up that Righteous Glory now, so definitely looking to kind of speed his team up and look for that engage.
My concern is the counter engage, because Shifter can just ult straight over the top of any of the engaging tanks and just go straight onto Corki or the Tristana and make sure they don't have a look in on these fights.
And that's the problem, this cheese pick of the Malphite support, something I did not expect to be seeing when I woke up this morning.
Look, as well, they sent Paris to the top lane, they're matching him against Rifty just to make him feel as uncomfortable as possible here. And Kerberos, once again in the bot lane, is being matched up by Energy, but he has more than enough sustain to stay in this lane. Rifty, rightly so, he's abandoned his top lane. He's like, you know what, I can't even fight this, forget about it. The Baron is being started. They have no idea this is going on either.
Well, it looks like they're actually going to go look for the check now. Ultimate's available on Shifter. They've thrown the wards down, so they spotted them out at this point, even though the pink ward was denying it. They're now fully aware of what's happening. But look, Kerberos actually maybe looking for an engage, going to get headbutted away. Scissor looking for the stretching strikes, manages to find it. Candy Floss is looking for it. Let's see where Shifter's ultimate goes. Let's see who he targets. The knockup goes a little bit wide. We see the ultimate come out of the Maokai, onto the backline, onto the Tristana. A three-man knocker comes out of Candy Floss, and no one has died quite yet. It looks like it's going to be the first victim of the fight as the Featherstorm comes out. The Tristana is crushed on the backline. Matty trying to make something work here as he's going to get headbutt pulverized by Adam, but he finds the root. The kill comes through for Energy onto the Zac, onto the backline, and Matty ignited manages to find a kill, but Energy with a double kill gets rooted up, and that is going to be a fantastic fight for the team of Singularity because Paris can just walk back towards the bot lane.
However, they will lose a tower in the mid lane here, and you're dealing with Energy, who's going to kill this fast. He's got the Trinity Force, he's got the damage coming through from that Sheen, so they need to go and match it pretty quickly. What was really strange there was Cesar used his ultimate on Candy Floss and then dropped him right in front of Matty, and that's exactly where Candy Floss wants to be. He's a tank, he's got CC, he's got pretty decent damage, he's pretty fed right now, he's 2, 1 and 3. Why put him in front of your carry? It was the strangest place to put him in the world because X-Matty then had to run away from the likes of Adam, who managed to get a knock up onto him, Candy Floss, who was still trying to dive into him. It was a little bit of a crazy move by Cesar, I think, and probably the first misplay or major misplay I've seen from him this game thus far.
Definitely so. I mean, even in the last game, I don't think he had an awful performance, actually. He found some pretty decent fights for his team.
It's more a case of, I think it's like when you're behind, it's not so much that you're playing bad, it's more that you're playing reactive rather than proactive. I think I mentioned this every single time I cast, but you'll see it in here in just a second. So this is a bit of a crazy engage. The CC did not land onto Zania in the backline except for Shifter's ultimate. And we said if they could avoid one, they're in a pretty much golden spot there. Brilliant knock away from both tanks to make sure he's safe. But look here, look, Matty, he's got 2 tanks on him because Cesar, it's like bad guy Cesar here. He drags Candy Floss to him and goes, okay, I'm out now, I'm dead, see you later. And that was the end of that.
Good job. Cesar has a fair chunk of damage there as he did chunk Candy Floss out of the fight. But yeah, did go pretty equal actually. I'd said in favor of Singularity, but
it looked like
overall,
MnM were the one with the most people left in the arena and the king of the hill at the end of the fight, as it might be. But they still had Paris running towards the bottom side to make sure that tower went down. So overall, it was a net gold game coming through for Singularity.
Well, look at this. Kerberos still pressuring Rift, making sure that he can't teleport because Kerberos' teleport is down. Baron Nash has already been started up, baited up as they're looking for a fight onto Candy Floss. Candy Floss has thrown out the Umbral Trespass, and we see the Featherstorm come out. Once again, he's delivered into the backline, but it's not enough. We see the ultimate come out. Zandia is trying to come alive in the fight. Cesar is running low, and Energy manages to find himself a juicy kill. It's just going to be a 1-for-1 as Kerberos is running a little bit low as well.
So he actually dived in the tower there to cancel the TP coming out of Rifty to make sure that fight stayed as a 4v4. So doing his job as a split pusher. Did take a lot of damage for it, but this could be a couple of towers going the way of Singularity.
Could be so. They do need to be a little bit careful, but a route like that is pretty good. And Rift, half health straight off the bat. That was a good rocket onto 2 members, 2 squishy members.
It's a 3-0-2 Vladimir, and he's only got the Spectre's counter to his name to try and offset some of that damage. That's why he's getting hurt so much right now by Paris, and I'm pretty sure Singularity's game plan is just to make sure that Paris has got all of his attention on Rift at all times. Let Shifter and Cesar be the ones to deal with Zandia, because when they get the double knock-up onto him, he doesn't last very long in these fights.
Zonya's just got picked up by Paris on that back. Titanic Hydra finished by Kerberos now. So he is starting to get pretty tanky, well, more bruisery, I guess, as well as actual threat. So he's going to be able to sustain in these fights for a little bit longer if he decides to go there, or he could just look for the nice little split push, which actually Kerberos has been doing very well. Once again, Singularity start themselves up onto the Nasher.
I'm slightly worried about this. This is a case of trying to force something I don't think you need to. Yes, you're 5,000 in the lead, and yes, it could help you accelerate even further. If Candy Floss gets the steal, though, suddenly MnM find themselves in a very, very strong position, a very risky position, needless to say.
They're constantly starting off just in the hope that they might be able to catch it off. Look at Candy Floss, though. He's running very, very low. Kerberos instantly looks to go in. There's going to be the ultimate come out. Are they going to find themselves anything? Rift rooting all 5 members in, and that's a fantastic Valkyrie pinning them away, but he has been ulted on the backline. He's running so low. Will the burst be enough for them to get the kill? As MnM's health bars are blinking, Vladimir gets the first kill. The Featherstorm gets pulled out, and that's them all going to get pulled back as Vladimir goes for the double kill. Zaya gets 1, and everyone on MnM bleeds, and it's just the Tristana and the Corki left alone. Double kill for the Zaya. Paris throws out the Zonyas as well, and it is just Energy left up.
Paris there had pretty much a free reign. He was sat in the middle of the whole fight, just laying down damage wherever he wanted to, and yes, Energy managed to get some return damage down. But look at Zandia, died with his flash off. time and time again, he just cannot deal with the CC coming his way. No, there's no play available from a Thresh to keep himself this time round. He has to deal with the damage in the CC as it comes through, and quite simply, he cannot survive the damage.
Zandia is just getting ripped apart this game, and this is what you said in game 1. You said that Zandia was your concern for the side of MnM. You felt that he was a great mid laner, but as an ADC, he's not quite as good. And yes, he was on Kalista last game, who's arguably the strongest ADC in the game. We'll get to talk about that.
Look at Zandia, he's got the red buff, he's pretty safe, got the Knight's Vow, everything's looking fine and dandy to begin with, but he's so terrified of Shifter's engage if it comes through. Adam does a great job of layering on the CC, so this backline can't really do very much, but that's it, look. Straight away from the side, in the bottom of your screen right now, Zandia is being caught out, while Paris just wreaks absolute havoc elsewhere. And now he finds himself completely on his own with nothing else to do, gets picked off pretty quickly, and it's the constant slows coming through from Shifter as well that we didn't really speak about earlier on in the game. It's not just the attack speed debuff, it's also coming down to the move speed ceiling as well.
Let's see whether or not MnM can actually make himself a favourable fight, or if they're just going to start to concede turrets and concede pressure. As Kerberos is pushing away in that top side, so it's pulled Rifty down. Kerberos has teleport, Rifty does not, so Kerberos can continue to pressure. Look at this, Cesar looking for the elastic slingshot, not going to find it onto Zandia this time.
I know exactly what's coming.
Matty needs to be a little bit careful though. Actually fully aware he's got Kerberos and whoa! That is one dead Kane. And now actually Rifty needs to be very careful. He's on the verge of getting tower dive. Ultimate's available from the Malphite, and he's just going to go straight onto the back onto Energy Ice Cold as the ultimate gets thrown out, trying to pin them, trying to lock them in place. Shifter, super low, but not low enough to go down at this point. Rifty has got such a juicy heal coming out. Good ultimate from Paris is going to get onto a couple of members and get him a big heal as two couples get pushed together, and it's just going to be Cesar delivering energy into the back of the fight. Adam is running extremely low. The heal comes out of Zandia, but MnM walk away limping from that fight and with a lost tower.
But Zandia survives the fight. That's the important thing, and the turnaround point for MnM to consider is they're managing at least to keep him alive and somewhat safe. He's gone for the Executioner's calling now. He knows that Paris is a bit of a nightmare, and it's not really the engage from Shifter and Cesar he has to worry about anymore. It's the damage coming through from Paris. He's 5-1 and 5. He's got himself 3.5 items to his name. He's terrifying right now. They've got to that point where the Vladimir really comes online. He's doing so much work right now, as is Matty.
I was about to say, speaking of terrifying.
Yeah, 7-1 and 6 on him. Like, this is all going their way right now. And I always hate saying it because they're so far ahead at 10k, but MnM still have some kind of capability to come back into this one. They've got double carry to their name. They've got a 5-2 and 2 Corki. If the Tristana can get to the point where she gets another couple of items, she will be very, very scary. However, one of those items may well need to be a GA because you cannot deal with Shifter and Cesar forever. Now,
Singularity have got themselves a Cloud Drake and a Mountain Drake. The screen's not showing that, but they did pick a Cloud Drake up earlier on in the game. Now, MnM. Sorry, MnM are the one with the Mountain Drake. The next, sorry, it's a Cloud Drake for Singularity, and another Mountain Drake is spawning shortly, which means Singularity will have an even stronger sieging capability. They are just walking this big wave in. Look, Shifter's got ultimate. Everyone on the side of Singularity are ready to fight.
Look at Kerberos, he's 1-4 and 5. Already we're starting to see that Renekton falling off and not having the big impact we need him to have. It's all about Shifter, it's all about Cesar, Paris and Matty. Kerberos is just there as a big tanky front line at this point. That is his job.
He's got the GA though, so this time, the way we've seen Kerberos play this is he split pushes, and then when he thinks there's a fight available, he'll come into the fight, lay out a lot of damage onto the backline, onto the squishy members, either forcing them away from the fight, or if they do want to commit to the fight, then either Paris or Matty can actually then turn around the damage. So Kerberos is kind of the sacrificial lamb who goes in, makes life hard for the squishier members on the back end of the fight. Yes, he dies, but then you're sitting there where as a Corki with half health versus a 7-1 Zaya. And this time, he's now a Renekton with a GA. So if you do manage to kill him with half health, he's going to come back and do the rest of that half health.
Rifty just accidentally bought double tab. He sold it straight after to sort the issues out again. But I was like, only one.
But you only have 2 feet though.
Only one shoe needed, mate, believe it or not. Don't need to have shoes on both your feet, just one and you get the full benefit. For some bizarre reason, but we'll go with it. Kerberos though.
Kerberos actually, yeah, is getting pinned in, going to get knocked up. Has got that GA, but I don't think it's going to be fully worth it. Throwing out the Dominus and the Flash. Energy even used his Valkyrie to get all the way over. Package burn, but his team are coming in. He's buying time. He's sliced. He's diced. Cesar looking for the knock-up onto the back end of the fight as Matty has entered into the fray. Has got the Featherstorm, but he's pinned up, locked down, and Tristana finds the kill. Zandia finds exactly what they need. Here comes Paris on the side of the fight. He does have ultimate available, so if he wants to throw it out, he can. MnM pretty happy with that.
That was so weird for Singularity. That was a bit more of a mistake by Singularity. Great execution by MnM to go for that big engage and try and catch a member of the team out. But Kerberos burned everything trying to get away. And in that context, no, Paris was the other side of the map. He could not join that fight. And in this stage in the game, it's like we saw when MnM started throwing away the last game. You need to make sure these big damage-dealing members are in these fights, because if they're not, you're going to find yourself losing out very, very quickly. And rightly so, Matty loses his life for it.
Matty does lose his life, and Kerberos actually walks away. Even though he was the one that got engaged on, he actually got his ADC killed for that. It looked like they could turn it, and as we look, the gold lead is still 8,000 gold separating them. So Singularity definitely still are in a happy place, but as we start to move later on into the game, the Maokai gets tankier, the Tristana gets more scary, Candyfloss is starting to build more and more bruisery, and he does his sustain with the Umbral Trespass, his ability to kind of kite around, knock multiple members up. Becomes a very scary threat.
The late game kind of comparison between these two teams is slightly in MnM's favor, I'd say. Xayah still terrifying in the late game. Malphite always going to be Malphite in the late game. And also the Vladimir as well is always worth considering. He's one of the scariest late game mages you can have or be playing against in any kind of scenario. The Renekton is the biggest concern for me here. Like I said earlier on, the Maokai is going to be what outscales him as we get later into the game. Will be more useful, a better engaged tool, so on and so forth, and they've got double carry. That's the big defining factor for MnM here, and if they can keep on taking the advantage they're getting, this is the third Mountain Drake of the game.
I got the stats wrong earlier. Yeah, MnM are the one with 2 Mountain Drakes at this point, and it actually looks like side of Singularity just don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to take that fight, and they're just going to concede the Mountain Drake, which is now 3 Mountain Drakes to MnM, so if they ever win a fight, towers will melt, Baron Nashor will melt, and it's 25 seconds until the big purple worm is up.
Big purple worm. I'm pretty sure they weren't minded as well, but this is the interesting thing where they've been behind all game long, but they've always kept the focus on the objectives on the map, on that triple Mountain Drake that now sits on their side. 8,000 gold behind, still finding themselves in a case where one team fight could be all they need to just wreck through the base with that 30% damage increase.
That's a good knockup. Cesar looking for his own knockup to boot. Going to throw out the stretching strike. Going to look for the next one. Look, Zandia is just going to get knocked up, bumped up, ignited. Hemoplague taken away. That will be the end of him as Kerberos is in the fray. Umbral Trespass gets thrown out. Featherstorm follows up. That's going to be a great twisted advance coming through. And now Matty is just liquefied on the back end of the fight. They trade 1 for 1, ADC for ADC. Paris needs to sustain and do the damage to keep this going, because Kerberos is able to slice and dice forward if he wants to, but Rift is just so tanky on the front as a 2-man knocker comes up. Good Q comes out, and it looks like Paris is still staying alive at this point. Candyfloss will not die though, neither will Paris. This fight is just not ending. Cesar once again gets knocked up. He bops 2 people together, and it looks like the side of MnM are the victors in this fight as Cesar is forced to run away as he gets knocked up and he gets cut down, and it's gonna be the Corki. He's the one that does it.
You know there's an issue when you speak about needing to kill an AD carry, in this case Zandia, and it takes 3 members, all their ultimates, everything else to pile in and bring him down.
They just wanted to make sure he was dead.
This means that there's Kerberos and Matty that fend up for themselves against 3 or 4 members of the enemy team. And there's no way they walk away from that one alive, as we saw from Matty. He got collapsed on by Rifty, who, as we said in the late game, will be able to lock him down quite easily.
Paris has been rooted up. He's also not going to get knocked up because he uses the pull, forced to flash away. Matty is on the way, but this looks like actually MnM could turn this in their favor. They're going to start the Baron. Remember, they've got 3 Mountain Drakes to their name. It is just falling apart. They're cutting through it like butter. Matty needs to make something work, and Zandia gets rooted up. He's going to get knocked up. Hemoplague's thrown down, so that's going to be the end of him as Kerberos is on the other side of the fight. Can they turn it in their favor as a 3-man root comes out of Matty? He is coming alive in the fight. Rifty goes down. Kerberos looking for a kill onto Energy, but Energy and Adam are out of there. And they do get themselves the Baron, but they lose the fight afterwards, and they lose 3 members.
That was a big commitment, admittedly, and they had half the members over the wall, half of them still in the pit when the engage came through from Singularity. So yes, they deny the Baron away. They get themselves a little bit more gold back to shrink that gold lead down. But they lost a lot for it here, and in fact, they may well just find Singularity find themselves an inhibitor here in the top lane.
And that is not good for them. The tower will fall pretty soon. Cesar looking for an opening, has got those stretching strikes, and he's going to bop Adam into his own inhibitor. Top lane inhibitor falls. Couple of more seconds until the rest of MnM are up. And Singularity are pretty happy with that win, actually. They lose the Baron, but what they gain off it is so much better for them.
The size of the Vladimir, 7-1 and 8, 9-3 and 7 still on Matty. But both AD carriers are now finding themselves in the situation where they are getting pressured quite a lot by the enemy team in their CC, and getting dropped pretty quickly too. It's just a case of whose AD carry dies first and whose lives the longest, because in that case, Maddie was alive for an extra maybe 5 to 10 seconds, managed to get themselves a couple more kills, but the Baron still went over to MnM.
Matty's actually picked a GA up, and he's not even opted remotely into the QSS. So if he does get CC chained up, if Rift manages to find a flash twisted advance, there is no way he's getting out of that. But Candyfloss, says that is not a mistake you want to make. And Kerberos is just going to get blocked out of the fight. Humble Trespass is thrown forward onto Shifter. Are they going to go for the kill? Are they going to go for the knock-up? Ultimate comes down. There's the Featherstorm to back it up. And it looks like Shifter is going to go for it. Where will he throw it out as Paris is forced to Zonias as Kerberos enters into the fight, and he is the first victim to go down. Caesar is just going forward, delivers energy into the back. Rifty running low. Kerberos goes down. Singularity have turned the fight, have looked to get themselves control of the game and control of this series, as they are going to walk it down mid with the minions. Only one member alive, and that member is Candyfloss for MnM.
That was just a fight Singularity been looking for so long, finally coming to fruition. And for Shifter, he didn't even use his ultimate at the very start of that fight. It was more the fact that Kerberos, oddly enough, all I said about him was in the back line just causing absolute chaos. But it doesn't matter what he's doing to the minions here. They've got a super minion. They can take these towers down.
Paris is making Candyfloss's life super hard at this point. Actually, it might be Candyfloss making it hard for him, but tower number 1 will drop, tower number 2 will drop. Candyfloss flashes in, and he looks to go forward with the Humble Trespass onto multiple members, trying to buy time, but the Nexus drops. We are tied. Singularity and MnM, one apiece.
Doesn't this make this series